Vancouver Resource Investment Conference 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the booth of Silver One Resources, and with me here is Crowe, the CEO and president of the company. And yeah, we want to hear not only an update, it's the first time you are, I think, on our channels. What is Silver One about, and welcome.
Okay, thank you, Johan. It's a pleasure to be here, and pleasure to speak to you and your followers. And Silver One essentially is a brand new company. It only started trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange, followed shortly after that by the OTC in the US, and also on Frankfurt about 5 months ago.
Oh, that's really brand new.
It is brand new, and we started out as a shell company that was called BRS Ventures, and then we ended up doing a deal with First Mining Finance, which is part of the group of companies. First Majestic is also part of that group as well.
Keith Neumeyer's group, right?
That is the Keith Neumeier group. So with First Mining Finance, we acquired 3 Mexican silver properties, 2 with historic resources, and at the same time, we announced a name change to Silver One. We also did a financing, $2.5 million, which was 10 million shares at 25 cents. And then on top of that, we did a 3-for-1 forward stock split.
Okay.
So as opposed to having 26 million shares out, we ended up having about 70-some million shares out, plus then again, of course, we issued 10 million shares for the acquisition of those silver assets.
Okay, perfect. So what is the business model of the company? What do you want to do?
Well, in essence, we are looking at growing the company both in a combination of organically and also through acquisition. So we did the acquisition of those properties. Now we want to start developing those properties. Those properties had resources of approximately combined, measured and indicated, about 15 million ounces of silver, and then at the inferred level, another 5 million ounces of silver. Good exploration upside potential. We've started doing some exploration. We have also acquired, with the First Mining Finance deal, one of their previous directors, Raul Diaz, used to work for Peñoles in Mexico, very, very knowledgeable of the, shall we say, the field in Mexico. So he's a good person, hands-on operator, but also, he's also a conduit for potential acquisitions.
Okay,
so we're looking at new opportunities.
Great.
Now, that said, last week, we just acquired a new asset. We ended up doing a deal with a company called Silver Standard that your followers might know.
Which is, what just want to say, a big boy in the silver space.
They are a big boy in the silver space. Now, they had an interesting asset on their books that they acquired in the year 2000, and it's called the Candelaria project, and it's located in Nevada. Big former producer. They produced up to 68 million ounces in the past. The latest producer was Kinross back in about 93 to 97. Silver Standard acquired in the year 2000 when silver prices were in the basement, in essence. So what they did was they did a big drill program, outlined a big new resource, and then they put it on the shelf and reclaimed the mine. It has sat in Silver Standard as a non-core asset for 16 years. So we talked and decided, well, let's put it into Silver One. So the deal that we struck on that mine was for $4 million in Silver One shares, payable in 4 tranches over 3 years.
Okay.
We can acquire 100% interest. No NSR, nothing. Okay.
Super.
Now, what is the resource that they outlined in the past? Well, through the drilling that they did, they have measured and indicated resources on one of the zones, there's 2 zones, of 42 million ounces. And on top of that, there are inferred resources on 2 zones plus leach pads of approximately another 83 million inferred ounces.
Wow, that's a lot.
So that's a lot of silver.
Wow.
But what we really like about it and what really intrigued us about it was they did some additional drilling a little bit deeper in the system. And by deeper, I mean 200 to 300 meters, so it's not that deep. But
that's even still open pittable.
It could be
200 meters.
It could be if there's enough found. That's right. But what they had was they had intercepts, for instance, 14 meters of 600 plus grams, things like that. So there's a real potential high-grade zone at depth that needs to be
examined. Is it silver
examined.
only, or maybe byproducts with
A little bit of gold, but predominantly silver.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, and then as you get down deeper, the system changes. Classic from an oxide to a more sulfide, you're getting some lead zinc starting to show up as well.
Perfect. So the plan is then to develop this asset, right?
Yes, we do want to develop the asset. In order to achieve that, as I said, we did that financing of $2.5 million about 4 months ago. So, you know, still have most of that in our treasury, but in order to really start developing these assets, we're probably going to have to think about going back to the market and raising a little bit more money, and we'll probably do that in the next few months.
Great, perfect. So to raise a little bit more money, this makes me to think about what is your shareholder structure, what has management in the game.
Yeah, sure.
Explain a bit.
Yeah, essentially, as I said, after we did the deal with First Money Finance and we did the forward stock split, we have about 83 million shares issued and outstanding right now, currently trading between 95 cents and $1.
So you have almost $80 million market cap.
Almost an $80 million market cap. With that, you know, going forward, we do plan on developing all 3 assets, all 4 assets now. So that's going to, I think, you know, you could look at that, maybe $3 to $4 to $5 billion worth of exploration would be required to really advance these projects. So the goal will be to go back to the market. We do have a significant amount of, shall we say, loyal shareholders. A lot of the principals of First Mining Finance and their associated companies, First Majestic, became investors in the company. So we do have, you know, very faithful shareholders, and at the same time, those shareholders also are very good in terms of having contacts with the financial community.
Perfect, super. Can I say, let's talk a bit about the bigger picture. I mean, that's for sure you want to develop all those great projects. It sounds to me like also, especially the one from last week, I would call it, that's maybe something you can bring fast in production. Yeah.
Well, everything takes time. The U.S. is a little different than
that's right, the
Mexico,
permitting is
and
a
the
bit longer.
permitting is a little bit longer. Now, that brings up an interesting point. You know, Mr. Trump, being president, is shaking up the environmental and EPA in the United States. So will that, and making things less bureaucratic. So will that fast track things? We don't know. Time will tell. So we'll move as quickly as we can. And you know, and market conditions are certainly looking more favorable for silver and for gold going forward. So I think we'll be able to make good progress in 2017.
Super.
Now, on top of that, we are also being approached on a regular basis with respect to additional acquisition opportunities. So we haven't finalized the growth of the company through potential acquisition.
So when I see your smile, something is cooking.
It's always cooking.
Very good. I like that. Well, then, Greg, thank you very much for this first insight. And I'm pretty sure we see us at PDAC latest.
Indeed.
And if
we'll have a booth there.
And if there happens something more, we do an update, of course.
Okay.
And look forward to that. Thank you very much. And all the best for the development then.
Thank you, Johan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Silver One President and CEO Greg Crowe. And you heard it. The company is really on the move. Something is cooking here, as we just elaborated. And they did a great deal even last week on Friday with a great property, almost over 120 million ounces in inferred and also indicated. Of course, these are historical resources.
They are historical resources, but only because of the date that they were done.
Exactly.
Yes.
And but we can surely rely a little bit on that at least. And I think with an $80 million market cap, that's not too much for such a great company. They're just 5 months on the run, and they did very, very well. A new star rising in the silver space, I would call it. We keep you posted. Thanks, and bye-bye from Vancouver.